Hello folks, this is Aitan Ajha from inspiredtorise.com. Welcome back to the channel. It's been quite some time and recently because of the lockdowns and so much staying at home, my mental health had definitely taken a huge break from making videos, but I'm back right now and we are going to talk about the ASUS ROG Phone 5. We have already done a detailed Hindi review video on our Hindi channel Inspire to Hindi. So everybody who's joining us from around the world on Inspire to Rise, welcome back. Let's begin. So guys, the ROG phone was always meant to represent what a no-holds-barred gaming phone could look like. Over the years that gave us some ridiculous industrial designs, and now they have started to tone that aesthetic to make it appealing to people from all walks of life. So the fan from the back is gone now, and the ROG Ultimate White version does look better than this normal ROG Phone 5 version that we have, but still the design has become more consumer friendly now, and a lot of people would like this newer design a lot. The version that we had has a glossy back and it still gets a lot of fingerprints and smudges. There's no official IP certification, and the lack of a rubber gasket on the SIM tray slot doesn't exactly inspire confidence. To say that it's a huge phone is an understatement. It's actually a really big phone at 6.8 inches and 238 grams of weight. In terms of overall feel, it has a very robust feel in hand. The display has Corning Gorilla Glass Victus protection and the back is also glass, but it's Gorilla Glass 3. This device has an aluminum frame and on the top it has a noise cancellation microphone. And if we talk about the weak points, it definitely has a very weak point in the frame, and which is because of the newer frame design. So definitely Jerry Rig everything showed in his video how weak the design can go if you put pressure at some certain points. So apart from all of that, on the top there's the noise cancellation microphone. The camera module on the back protrudes out really slightly. There's a nice smooth glass finish on the back with an RGB light panel which gives it a great look. If you use the smartphone without a cover, you'll find that it's kinda too smooth to be used comfortably and the chances of the phone slipping go really high. The best bet is to use this phone with the case which is supplied in the box. At 10.3 millimeters of thickness, it does feel like a solid slab of metal and glass, and the main culprit here for the weight would be the 6000 mAh battery and the robust design. So if you are a compact phone lover, you might as well skip this video altogether. There's a Type-C port at the bottom along with the 3.5mm jack, and on the right hand side there's the power button. The normal SIM tray openers don't work here. You need an extra long SIM tray opener for this one, and this smartphone comes with an upgraded air trigger experience which allows you to play games with real ease. So if you're somebody who's going to map a lot of controls on the air triggers, you will find that this smartphone does that job really well. And for really hardcore gamers who are going to customize all of these options, there are so many options that noobs like me were crying when I really got this review unit. I was crying, how would I customize all of this? And there's the Aero Active Cooler as well, which allows you to reduce the surface temperature of this device by at least 4 to 5 degrees, and it helps while you're gaming for really long durations of time. If you buy the Pro version, you will find this controller in the box, but otherwise you will have to buy it separately for the normal version. And there's support for fast charging as well here, but it's not really that fast. These are the colors, and it has stereo speakers, and I think these are one of the best sounding stereo speakers that I've heard on any smartphone ever. And the volume gets really high, uncomfortably loud at certain points of time. Let's talk about the display. It has a 6.78 inch Full HD plus 144Hz HDR10 plus compliant AMOLED display which can go up to a peak brightness of 1200 nits, and the general brightness stays around 800 nits. Truth be told, it has some of the best display panels that I've seen in quite some time. Even if we look at it in terms of color accuracy, it's pretty good. There's crazy high touch refresh rate of 300 Hz while the display refresh rate is of 144 Hz. It allows easy gaming, one of the best gaming displays out there, and I won't even compare it to the competition. If you are really a hardcore gamer, this is the smartphone that you will go for. And apart from all of this phone is available in Phantom Black and Storm White colors. It does look better in the white variant, so that's also something that you need to keep in mind. There are so many gaming related features in the smartphone that I felt that it's very difficult to cover all of that in just one single video. Still, here's the video for you guys. And when you look at HDR content on the display, it's definitely a great smartphone meant for content consumption. The rich vibrant colors, there's deep blacks, and my 8-bit video does not do justice to the kind of 10-bit colors that this panel can show, and definitely my camera and the YouTube 8-bit video does not capture the kind of peak brightness that this smartphone's display can show. There are a lot of options here, and you can also adjust the refresh rate depending upon how you like it. The automatically adjustment option is one of the best for almost everybody, I guess. And apart from that, if you're going to save a lot of battery, you can set it on 60 Hz in order to save it. Squeeze the smartphone long enough and you trigger the gaming mode on the smartphone. That's good. And this display is a full HD plus display. It could have been quad HD, but right now it's a okay mix of best performance along with battery life. The performance is good in day-to-day weather, but in harsh Delhi sun it might feel a little less bright compared to some other flagships. The touch latency at just 24 milliseconds is one of the absolute best for me. It does have a notification LED, and on the inside it comes with a Snapdragon 888 chipset with 8, 12 or 16 gigabytes of RAM, 128 or 256 gigabytes of storage. The storage on this one is a UFS 3.1 storage, and the read-write speeds are really fast. It's different from other 888 containing smartphones as it has a vapor chamber and graphite internals for heat dissipation. The main board is in the middle of this phone, so due to the overall symmetrical design, the thermals are really good compared to some other smartphones. If you're going to invest your money in the Aero Active cooler, things can get even better for long-term gaming sessions. The new performance manager allows you to switch between so many different modes, and the ultra durable mode got me the best battery life, so you can customize between them or select an entirely different power plant to your liking. Support for some of the older accessories has gone now, which is a little sad for people who are already invested in the ROG ecosystem. Now let's talk about the software. It's running a custom ROG skin on top of Android 11, and it's running a slightly older security patch level. There's Armory Crate here as well, which allows you to access a great level of customization where anything can be tweaked to a crazy level. The level of customization options are so many that people like me would be easily overwhelmed. You can even choose between the two colors of choice for the RGB logo on the back. There are different modes like X mode and X mode plus, and if you're somebody who's going to game a lot, you will appreciate all of these modes which are present on this smartphone. And apart from that, there are also different battery modes, and some of the battery modes can even make the phone hang to a crawl. So let me explain. The ROG Phone 5 allows you to set a low temperature for throttling the CPU. So when you do that level of tuning, sometimes your CPU is already heated up and the system would just hang and it will wait till the system is cool again in order to become responsive. So I would suggest that normal users should never mess up with the battery modes because some of them are really advanced. This is the absolute dream phone for gamers, and the number of input options that can be achieved on this phone are absolutely crazy. Hardcore gamers should buy the Kunai gamepad if their favorite games support external gamepads, and if you actually put the time and effort to master all of the inputs that this smartphone provides you, you can actually become a great gamer. I'm a filthy casual, so everything present on the smartphone was overkill for me. There's also the Aero Active cooler, which allows for more input options as well. And there's an always on display on the smartphone, so that's good. And these are all of the options. As you can see, the Kunai 3 gamepad looks like that. I played a lot of games on the smartphone, and needless to say, it handles a lot of games very easily. Snapdragon 888 is known for some of its heating issues, but I can say that this smartphone has amongst the best thermals for any Snapdragon 888 smartphone. And apart from all of that, there are a lot of other things which are good. Game Genie allows real-time control while you're gaming, and the Armory Crate works like a game launcher. There's also variable rate shading, which might come soon in some of the games. It's almost like DLSS for ray tracing, which would allow you to have better looking graphics at a significantly lower GPU cost. So that's something which is a Snapdragon exclusive technology, and it might come soon to the smartphone in the near future. And if I talk about heating, the phone was heating up slightly when I was using the camera, and even while gaming for a really long duration of time, it did heat up if you are using it without any fans. And as I told you earlier, deep learning super sampling, that is DLSS, and it might come to the smartphone via a Snapdragon update in some of the games, not every game for sure. And if you are going to game for a long period of time, the aero active cooler does reduce the heat by a few degrees, but it's not something mind-blowing. And still I would say thermal throttling doesn't really happen on this phone owing to the new hardware and the new design where the batteries are on both of the sides of this phone, so it does not really throttle that much. And I feel like any external fan is not present on the smartphone, which kind of makes the design a little bit more good aesthetically. But still, if there was an internal fan present on the smartphone, it might have reduced the temperature a little bit further. But I do understand why ASUS got rid of the internal fan on the smartphone, and it's more of a long-term thing. And these are all of the quick control actions in Armory Crate, and there are so many options here to record your clips while you're gaming, so many different options to customize while gaming, that this smartphone is really overkill for somebody who won't be able to utilize all of this. And if you're just a normal casual gamer, you might not want to buy something like this. There's also a scout mode which has color inverse options so that you can easily target enemies in darker areas. So the number of things that they have put in the smartphone in order to make sure that your gameplay is better is just crazy. If you talk about connectivity, it has dual SIM support, via Wi-Fi, VoLTE, 5G support, Wi-Fi dual band, Wi-Fi 6E, Bluetooth 5.2. There's aptX HD support and also adaptive Bluetooth audio support. Apart from all of this, there's GPS on the smartphone with all of the bells and whistles. It has NFC but no radio. There's a USB Type-C port on the side, which is the better USB Type-C port. It's a faster one. At the bottom, the USB Type-C port is not the faster one. And apart from all of this, I feel that even in terms of connectivity features, they have not left anything out, and it can simultaneously connect to a 2.4 GHz and a 5 GHz Wi-Fi network while being connected to the mobile networks as well. And it will choose which one, it will choose the network which has a lower latency level amongst all of these. So that's something which has been made by keeping in mind the needs of gamers. And something made me feel that 4G Plus wasn't working properly sometimes because I wasn't getting that much speeds. And when I tested, this unit was tested few months ago, so I didn't get better speeds then. Maybe the situation has improved now with updates and 4G Plus is working better on the smartphone now. But still, there are some kinks in the software which ASUS definitely needs to fix now. And now let's talk about the camera on this one. It comes with a 64 megapixel primary f1.8 PDF camera sensor with a 0.8 micrometer pixel size. It's a Sony IMX686 sensor, and there's a 13 megapixel f2.4 ultra wide sensor as well here. There's a 5 megapixel f2.0 macro sensor. This smartphone supports up to 8K video recording at 30 frames per second, and 4K video recording up to 120 frames per second, and 1080p video recording up to 240 frames per second, 720p slow motion at 480 FPS. And there's gyro EIS in videos. There's a 24 megapixel f2.5 selfie camera, but there's only 1080p 30 fps in the videos taken from the selfie camera. The main camera does have a good color science to it, but sometimes sharpness takes a little bit of hit due to excessive smoothing applied to combat noise. A telephoto instead of a macro sensor would have been much better, but it is what it is. And during sunny and well lit conditions, it takes great photographs. The 8K videos are great in daylight, but if you reduce the light a little bit, the focus starts to struggle. Considerable quality differences between the main camera sensor and the ultra wide camera sensor are present. There is no dedicated OIS here, and that could have been improved. The HDR algorithms do get pretty aggressive sometimes. It does support 4K videos with HDR mode on, and that comes up as a pop-up in the UI when you are in really bright light. The front camera based face unlock is pretty good, so that's not an issue. And on the main camera, up to 8x digital zoom is possible. The battery on this one is a 6000 mAh battery, and it's divided into two separate 3000 mAh cells. This does allow for fast 65 watt charging as well, and it provides more thermal headroom. Inside the box, the fast 30 watt charger quick charge 4.0 is included, and the cable given inside the box has a nice braided feel. There are so many battery modes, options for regulating charging, etc., that a normal user might feel overwhelmed. There's an option to limit the maximum percentage charged for the battery, and there's an option to limit the rate of charging, which is to prolong the battery health. Then there are crazy number of power modes. I tweaked the advanced mode once to get up to 2 days of battery life, and with all the bells and whistles set to in maximum limit you can expect only a normal 1 day battery life, but full charge is possible on the smartphone within an hour. There's a pass-through mode as well for gaming while charging, and it helps to avoid heating. You can expect 5.5 to 6 hours of screen time easily on gaming. And let's talk about the audio. Without a doubt, the best sounding speakers on any smartphone. The stereo effect and maximum volume achieved by these speakers is really good, and there's very little distortion. The 3.5mm jack is back now, and there's an ESS quad DAC here, but I really wish they provided an option to disable all of the audio enhancements as well. Sometimes you just want to hear the original sound. And my 24-bit 96 kHz grunge collection FLAC files, when played to wired earphones, was painfully butchered by the processing sometimes. Wireless was really awesome, and I didn't find issues on a lot of wired earphones, only on some of them, so that's something. And the quad DAC audio quality with FLAC files on the smartphone is the real deal. But battery was draining a little bit quicker while watching videos, but overall screen on time is something that I feel was really great. If you are going to use the smartphone just for your normal day-to-day casual stuff, you will find that this is one of the best multimedia smartphone around. And let's talk about the price and conclusion. The price of the smartphone is equivalent to any other modern flagship out there, but the n number of features and the best speaker setup on this one, a great battery life, nice display, and the existence of so many bells and whistles on this one makes the base ROG Phone 5 model actually a good deal. Several online tests show that the structural integrity is now a bit lower due to the changed design for this one. Haptics were a bit underwhelming for me, if you really think about the fact that this is a flagship smartphone, and no, there's no water resistance and there are structural issues. The heavy weight of the smartphone might put some people off. The pricing makes the base variant the best value for money deal, while other pro variants might be overkill for a lot of people. So the 128GB variant is available for a price of around 50,000 rupees, and the 12 to 56GB variant is available for a price of around 58,000 rupees. The Aero Active cooler retails for a price of around 3,000 rupees, and the ROG Kunai 3 gamepad retails for around 10,000 rupees. And all of those accessories are worth investing in only if you are somebody who's going to just game a lot. For normal people, I would not suggest you to go out and spend so much money on this. I know the audio might not be that much polished on this video, and you might feel like beating me up. For sure, you can always beat me up, and the comments section are open to all kinds of abuses that you might want to hurl at me for my accent and for the badly executed video. And I really love it when you guys go all banana and nuts in the comment section. That's something that I personally enjoy a lot, and I really like when people abuse a lot in the comment section, because that actually increases my reach, and it's a social media 101 lesson that any publicity is good publicity. So guys, do subscribe to Inspired Rise for more awesome tech videos like this one, and in the near future I'm going to make even more botched videos like this, and I'm not going to care about what you feel about it. Do you know why? Because this is my channel, and guys, no matter what you do, stay inspired to rise.
Like this video and subscribe, or absolutely nothing will happen. But hey,
it'd be a lot cooler if you did.